Hey, I just started the recording.
I
You're sideways. How does that happen?
oh let me
Oh,
let me.
that's fine.
I think it's fine.
All right, so I think this will be most useful if I just do it, and if what I'm doing doesn't make sense, just stop me. So I need to share my whole screen. I might. That seems a little dangerous. All right, well, I'll just be careful. So it's Tuesday, and we're doing releases, and those have already been kicked off. So the first thing that happens is we create a PR. And so here you can see in Slack, Chandan's created a PR for 111
Hmm.
and for 116. So if we look at these real quick. So one of your jobs as the lead is to basically make sure that this PR gets created, although, Chandan's on top of it. He's been doing it for a while, so you probably don't have to nag him.
Hmm.
And and then review it. And there's some rules about reviewing it that are in the role handbook description, which basically like when it gets generated, sometimes these prefixes have like remove me or stupid things in them. You have to clean those up. But otherwise, you just kind of review the PR. You might want to spot check a few of these URLs, but these point to GitHub issues, but they're fine. And uh, and then give it an LGTM if it looks good to you. But since you're not a maintainer and I'm not either, we'll have to wait for someone who is a maintainer to approve it. And so down here, Stefan Berenger approved it. And then it gets merged. And then, as the release notes tell us, that kicks off. Um, when it gets merged, it'll trigger a GitHub action to create a release branch. That's not necessary until we get to a beta or a release candidate, actually. Pushes a tag, so it did that, and it'll create a draft release, meaning a release in GitHub, where you can click on it and it's got all that stuff. It created a draft of that, but you and I can't see that because we're not maintainers. So, but
Okay.
it's got the exact same contents as that PR we were just looking at. Um, and then it'll also trigger a proud job to publish images to the staging repository. So that's going
Hmm.
on right now.
Hmm.
So here's the post push images job page. And you can see it kicked off 4 jobs. Whenever anything merges to main, it builds. And so these two are actually, they're not the same commit. That's interesting. But so we're waiting for this to finish and we're waiting for this to finish before we can do anything else. And 9:43 should be pretty close to finishing. Hopefully we don't have to wait too long. Um, but then, the way you can tell it's finished is it'll show it over in the duration column how long it took. Okay, that one just finished and these two start about the same time. So hopefully within a minute or so. And then once v1.11 here and v1.10.6 finish up,
Hmm.
then that will have pushed images over to the staging repository, which is here. And this is a little funky. You just kind of need to know that 4 of these directories are the important ones because there's a lot of things we build here. But all we really care about is the cluster API controller. And this Google interface loads very slowly.
Hmm. Huh.
There it is. Oh, and so it's there already. The tag is there. So that means that this other thing must have finished if we refresh. Oh no, not quite. So it's still pushing some images, but it's almost there. Um, so the 4 we care about are the cluster API controller, cluster cuddle, which is the command line utility, and it's there. And then kubeadm bootstrap controller. And you can figure this out from the PR that gets created. You don't have to remember these, but pretty soon you'll remember these. So they all have the v1.11 tag, so I bet this is finished now. Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's finished. So that means we can move on to the next step here, which is running this command. So we have to create a PR. So let me pop over here, see what branch I'm in. Check out the main branch, make sure I'm up to date. I don't know that that's that important. Okay, so both of those merged. And then we want to do these commands, which is export the release tag variable to be the current release that we care about. I already have a GitHub token set in my environment, so I'm not going to do that. And then you just run make promote images. And this might take a little while because it's actually cloning the whole Kubernetes repository
Mhm.
behind the scenes. Even if you have a copy of it already, it can take a couple of minutes. That was pretty fast. So it already made the PR, and so we can jump over here and see that I just create a PR that way. And one thing we still do, although it's a good question whether it's really necessary or not, is we double check. Oh, that's 1.11.0. Oh, this is wrong. Actually, this is all wrong. I did it wrong. 1.11.1. Huh. Wait a second. How come it moved the 1.11.0 thing? Oh, I guess it's just reordering them. Sorry, I got confused. Same SHA. Okay. So it made some random change to sort these. That was what was confusing me. We can ignore that. But this is the only thing we care about is that it added the new SHA for four places. So here's the thing that I have done and that the maintainers like to see, although I really don't know that it's necessary. But basically what we do is I double check each of these SHAs. So then I want to say SHA something matches, and this is like uh, uh, cluster API controller v1.11.1 in the staging repo. And then I go to the staging repo. Oops, sorry. And then I wait a while for it to load. It's very slow. And then I click on the v1.11.1 tag for cluster API controller, and I copy this SHA value here. Let me move this tab over. And I just kind of blindly paste it in here. And then I look up and yes, it does match. Good.
Yeah.
So then I start a review and basically go and do that for the other three components. SHA, matches, cluster, oops, I can type cluster cuddle v1.11.1 in the staging repo. Now let's see if it does. Sorry, this is the super tedious part, especially since Google Cloud just doesn't, these pages just load so slowly.
Mm.
I don't know. So that was cluster API controller. Now we do cluster cuddle or CTL. Copy this SHA. Oops. And then paste it in. And then yes. Oops, the wrong area altogether.
That one.
Yeah, this one. Exactly.
Mm.
FC, and it does match. Okay. So that's two comments. And then here's the third one. Shaw matches, oops, matches CubeADM bootstrap controller v1.11.1 in the staging repo. One time, one time ever, we did have what looked like an error here. So maybe this isn't completely pointless that we do this because you can see that it's going to match. It all got, but one time there was a discrepancy. It turned out that somehow there were two SHAs that pointed to the exact same uh, Docker image layer, which I guess is possible. And it wasn't actually an error, but it took us a while to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then that made us think, oh, well, we better continue to double check these. Although
Yeah. Right.
I think we could be talked out of it because this just seems a little pointless. But it matches cube ADM control plane controller v1.11.1 the staging repo. And then last one, v1.11.1, copy the SHA, put it in here. Do they match? They do. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'll add that so I have 4 review comments. So then I finish my review and I actually say hold cancel because I'm not allowed to approve this or LGTM it since I created it, but it has a hold on it. So now I say hold cancel because I double checked all the 4 SHAs and they all seem to match. So that's really as much as we could do. And then I go back to the Slack channel and I say, Stefan, promotion PR for v1.11.1 is ready there. Because it helps to over communicate here because he's busy and it's also the evening for him in Germany, so
Mm-hmm.
doesn't hurt to bug him. So
Yeah, got it.
that's basically it. Well, that's not true. So he'll look at this PR, he'll approve it. When it merges, um, then there's a little bit of a delay before the images are actually available. You know, it's promoting them to somewhere else and creates a PR, merge the PR, and then wait for the promotion job to complete. This is a similar job to the other one, but not the same one. So you can wait for this to finish after that, and then you want to run this command, this big Docker pull command, to see if the images are actually available in the real world. They won't be yet. But then once that command runs fine, that means the images are actually available. And then we're on to step 4 here, where basically I go back to the Slack thread and I ping Stefan or Fabrizio or whoever's available again. And I say, hey, the images are available. Can you finalize the release? Because only a
No.
maintainer can do that in GitHub. And then we're done.
Mm.
Does that
Yeah.
mostly make sense? I think the weird thing is you start with a PR with the release notes, but that's actually a workflow that happens in most of the Kubernetes projects now.
Mhm. Looks good to me until now.
Okay. Yeah. Well, hopefully that helps it make sense. We won't have to do this again for about a month, but
Yeah, yeah, no.
I'll be around when we do it. So let me know if you have any questions, and
No.
I'll put this recording out on YouTube along with the one from our meeting this morning, and then we can point people to these. Save.
Sure, sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Pratik. I'm glad you were available.
Yeah, thank you, Matt, for
Talk to you
your
soon.
yes, bye.